So to anyone who's starting out with the game, you got to understand, speccing into one of the skill trees and only one of the skill trees is a terrible idea. Because there are essential skills in every single tree that you should have no matter what you're playing. They are good, well-rounded skills, and each of these trees offers something to the player no matter what you're doing. If you're always stealthing, you can still make use of some Enforcer, Technician, and Mastermind trees. If you're only going loud, you can still make use of some Ghost skills and some Mastermind skills. You should be able to bend and be flexible in this game because missions can go loud and you can do random quiet missions, and parts of loud missions can be stealthed successfully. The idea is to make your build as flexible as possible until you reach a point where you have enough money or enough time or enough knowledge of the game to actively change your build over and over again. You know, oh, I know I'm going to do framing frames, so I'm going to prepare myself by having a ghost build ready and saved up and respecking into it. But the idea I'm going over right now is that you, as a player, I'm going to turn the music on a little bit, you as a player should realize that speccing into only one tree, into only two trees, into only three trees, is an awful idea. And it is the greediest thing you can do in a co-op game. If you're soloing, if you only play offline and you play by yourself and with bots, do whatever the hell you want. You are not going to affect me or my gameplay. But if you are going to play with people that play this game, if you're going to do any sort of co-op, take it upon yourself to take skills that will assist them and make their lives easier as well as yours. Firstly, we're going to touch the Mastermind tree. So the Mastermind tree takes 1 point to unlock. 1 point to unlock Doctor Bags. And now, let's say your team has a bunch of ammo bags. You know, you're going to do rats. You got two guys who got those really upgraded ammo bags. Well, you don't need to bring one. There's no point in you bringing one. If you're not doing a transport mission, you don't need to bring C4. You don't need to bring an ECM on a loud mission unless you have feedback, and even then that's risky. Unless it's essential for like an escape. So you bring the Doctor Bag. The Doctor Bag is one of the most useful basic items that you can get. Second being probably the ECM, followed by the ammo bag. The Doctor Bag has a total of like 2 or 4 charges, I don't remember off the top of my head, in the basic one, and that can take someone from within an inch of their life and about to be taken into custody to full health and full downs left to use. That's super important, and you can give your team that just by bringing along a Doctor Bag, the basic one. You get for 1 skill point. That's a few thousand experience. That's nothing. But it unlocks the Mastermind tree, and the Mastermind tree has a lot of really useful skills in it, especially if you want to go that direction. Of course, it's understood. But the idea is that it has one almost nearly essential skill. It's fantastic. So firstly, just for unlocking the tree, you increase your Doctor Bag interaction speed by 20%, which means if you are trying to heal yourself in the middle of a gunfight, and you are taking damage and you're being shot at, you will finish healing yourself and be back at full health and be back ready to fight again 20% faster. That's huge. It may look like a couple of seconds on the actual timer, but that is tremendous amount of time when it comes to actually playing the game. Followed, secondly, by a basic skill. A basic skill. You put 5 points into the Mastermind tree, you are set for the rest of the game. You don't even have to touch it. It's recommended you do some more stuff, like you see I have here. My first build I went Mastermind. This is my second build I'm doing. I'm going Infamous. I was going to try out something like an Enforcer Technician build. So I wasn't going to do much in the Mastermind build. But these are 3 almost entirely essential skills if you want to play a well-rounded character. Firstly, it's called Endurance. It's in the first tier on the far right side. Putting 1 point into this increases your stamina by 100%. Now, stamina is the amount of time you have allowed to sprint. Once you run out of sprint, you can't sprint anymore. Sprinting is good. Sprinting allows you to dodge bullets, to get around faster, to move and be where your enemy isn't. And if there's one thing the AI doesn't have in this game, it's maneuverability and mobility. That's one advantage you have over them. Even when you're wearing heavy armor, you can maneuver better than your enemies can, especially like, say, shields. If you can sprint around a shield to get on the other side of them and shoot them, that's good. If you're out of stamina, you're just kind of walking around them, and you risk being shot, you risk not turning fast enough, you risk not cutting off that angle. And if you ace this skill, now you don't even have to. In fact, 2 points in Mastermind is more than sufficient. If you ace it, though, increases your stamina for you and your entire crew by another 50%. Now it's multiplicative, so it'd be like 125% for you, and it does stack with everyone else's, so it does stack multiplicatively. So the numbers get kind of fuzzy, but if everyone on your team is sprinting more, you're more liable to all survive. The second one I like to recommend is Cable Guy. This helps with a lot of situations. Let's say you're trying to cable tie a hostage in a really iffy situation, like they might get spotted. You tie 75% faster. Now usually it takes about 2.5 to 3 seconds to tie someone down. This cuts it down to less than a second. It's about 0.5 to 0.7. I don't remember the exact number because it's kind of off. But that fraction of a second it takes you to tie that person down and get them out of the way can save a stealth mission. Also, if you ace it, it increases your number of cable ties by 4, giving you a grand total of 6. Now this means that if you are in a really bad situation, like say a bank heist goes loud and you're on pro and you just want to fight it out, you gotta tie hostages. A hostage delays a assault wave by 10 seconds on Death Wish. For every hostage you have tied down, they won't assault yet. It gives you guys time to prepare, time to make progress in the mission, time to get yourselves ready for the amount of shit you're about to go through. And that's super important. But not only that, if you ace one of these skills, which you should probably ace this one first, it unlocks the next tier. And tier bonuses are unlocked when you have enough points to access the next skill, but not necessarily put a point into it. So just by putting 1 point in here and acing this, you unlock the next tier. And this increases stamina for your crew and you by another 15%, even more stamina. And that's amazing. Again, more sprinting, more getting around, more mobility, better fighting, you stay alive more. The third one I like to do just because I'm leveling up, it's called Fast Learner. It's kind of a luxury thing at first, but the earlier you get it, the faster you level up. You get 15% more experience when you complete days and jobs, and your crew gains 30% more experience when you complete days and jobs when you ace it. That's just nice for everybody. If everybody has it, everyone gets more experience. It's just a good communal thing. If you feel like being an asshole, just get it once. I'm sure someone else has it. That's fine. If you don't want it, you don't want it. Fine, level up slower. But for every 100k that you get... Okay, so let's say you get 100k experience, right? This 15% would add 15,000 experience on. So... 5, 6, 7... For about every 700,000 experience you get an extra 100,000. That number is off in my head because 15 doesn't come out to a flat 100. But regardless, the idea is that that number adds up significantly quickly. Crazy fast. If you get 600k in a mission, you're looking at almost 700k instead. And at about level 60 to 70, that's almost an entire level. That adds up really quickly, and that's another skill point you can use. Now, Enforcer I'm currently spec'd into, so I'll go over some of that stuff last, but really one of the most important things you need to do is Ace Transporter. Bags can be heavy. Moving bags can make you a liability. Jewelry is quick. Jewelry is easy. You can sprint with jewelry on your back. You can sprint with meth on your back. You can't sprint with money, you can't sprint with gold, and you can't sprint with weapons. When you put 1 point in a transporter, you move 50% faster. That's huge! That's enormous! When you're doing Fire Starter Day 1, you gotta move those weapons. On any difficulty. If you're wearing heavy armor and you don't have any other skills, you are crawling. You are tiptoeing across this place. Bullets are flying. And you're just taking your sweet ass time because you didn't decide to put 1 point in to move faster. Your entire team has to wait for you. You're probably going to get downed, and you become a liability. 1 point, 1 level makes the entire experience for everybody better. Now, you can ace it as well. I recommend you ace it, because that makes moving multiple bags very important. Now, with heavy stuff like gold and weapons, it's not that important, because you can't throw them very far anyway. But jewelry, money, meth, anything light travels much, much farther. I mean, think about it. 1 foot times 1 foot. Okay, so let's say you throw a bag 2 feet. 50% of that only expands your throw to 3 feet. But let's say you throw a bag of jewelry 15 feet. That expands it to what, like 22 feet, 23 feet? I should have picked a better number for that. But regardless, the idea is that you throw bags so much farther, you move bags quicker, you get out of the fray quicker, you can escape faster. Everything, most of these skills are about being able to do things faster and more efficiently. And being efficient in this game is the difference between you guys finishing rats on Death Wish because you all played efficiently and used your ammo correctly and took headshots and healed when you were supposed to and not too early and not too late, and constantly failing missions and raging at people. Plus, you've just unlocked the ammo bag. If everyone's bringing doctor bags and everyone's bringing C4 and stuff, you can be the one guy who brings ammo. And if you're if you're using like a Thanatos or something and you're spec'ing the Mastermind, you might want to bring an ammo bag just for yourself, because you using the ammo is just a detriment to everyone else. No, it's not that important. These other ones aren't super important unless you really are having problems with them. These are mostly just for the Enforcer tree. Underdog is good. If you have points to burn, Underdog is fine. It's really useful. Plus, this acing transporter unlocks a tier bonus that gives you 10% more health. That's 10% more time alive if you're taking damage. Simple as that. Very straightforward. You get more health. Just for unlocking this, enemies are more threatened by you. I'm not going to go over threaten right now just because that's a whole another boatload of information that I don't want to give you guys. But Underdog's okay. It helps when you get into really shitty situations, like you're just surrounded by shields and enemies. You do more damage. And then if you ace it, you receive less damage. Very helpful. Pumping Iron's also fine. But again, if you're not spec'ing an Enforcer, don't worry about it. I only ace this so I could get higher up the tree. Not that important. Technician. Now Technician can go either way. One you should get is Nerves of Steel. 1 point in Nerves of Steel. That's 2 points so far in the Technician tree that you should use. You take 50% less damage when interacting with things. This is very important. If you're fixing a drill on a transport mission, you take less damage. Half damage. Which means you can get that drill fixed, not get downed while you're doing it, or take significant damage while you're doing it, and then get out of the way back to cover or get back into the fray. When you're interacting with a doctor bag, an ammo bag, putting an ECM down, putting a C4 down, putting on a drill, anything, any sort of interaction where you have to hold the F key, helping someone up, anything like that, you take half damage. So if you have to save someone who is in the middle of the fight, you take half damage. You don't run the risk of yourself getting downed while you're trying to save them. And then if you get down, if you don't have this and you get down while you're trying to save somebody, now there's 2 people down in a shitty position in the middle of the street and no one can get to you. You just screwed over your entire team. You know? And that can ruin the game for other people. If you don't have that skill, that makes you less of a liability. Because the biggest thing you can do for your teammates in this game is listen, pay attention, and don't make yourself a liability. The other one you can do, which you should get this one, but the other one I like very, very much is Rifleman. Now, that's because I use assault rifles and snipers. If you don't use them, don't bother. But there are quite a few really good skills in Technician that you should take. Technician's going to be the one that you're going to probably go the farthest into no matter what class you're playing, just because it is so useful in so many missions, in a large majority of missions. Rifleman's fantastic. You zoom 100% faster with assault rifles and sniper rifles. Sniper rifles have an amazingly slow zoom rate, or look down sight time. But that's not that big of a deal if you don't have the DLC, if you don't use them. If you use a lot of assault rifles, it's nice, it's convenient. If you don't, it's not going to affect you that much, that's fine. Sharpshooter's really good too. Also remember, I almost skipped it. Tier bonuses. Technician has some of the worst tier bonuses, except for one. This one's pretty good. Weapon stability is increased. Stability is recoil, in case you guys didn't know. That's basically one thing you need to focus on, is that stability is recoil and steadiness while you're aiming. So that's good. I mean, if you can't handle recoil, if you don't know how to do it correctly, or if the gun just has too much, putting stability on it, like maybe a silencer usually adds stability, is the best way to compensate for that. Getting Sharpshooter is awesome. 20% more accurate with all single-shot weapons. That includes shotguns, pistols, some assault rifles with the single-fire modification, sniper rifles. Anything that is single-shot becomes 20% more accurate. 20% is a lot. 20% is the difference between a headshot and a body shot. And on Overkill and Death Wish, that's game-changing. So that kind of stuff counts. And then if you ace it, your weapon stability for all rifles is increased by 25%. Again, if you use rifles, a very good skill. Now, these ones are awesome. If you put 1 point into this, you help your team out a lot. Only 1/2 of the skill helps you, really, but it's nice. You fix the drill 25% faster and deploy trip mines 20% faster. Trip mine part doesn't matter unless you're going Technician. But if you fix the drill 25% faster, that changes it from a 10-second fix time to a 7.5-second fix time. Again, seconds feel so arbitrary. Fractions of seconds feel so arbitrary when you're dealing with 20, 30, 40-minute missions. But they're not. Seconds are the difference between dying and living in this game. getting that last bag of loot and having a whole team wipe. You know, and people don't understand how important those little time periods are until they experience just how inefficient they can be. So that kind of stuff really matters. If you spec any farther, one thing you should really get is Drill Sergeant. Usually someone's going to have it because it's a great skill, but you should always ace it. Putting 1 point in it is useful, but if you can't ace it, always should. Basically, it increases your drill efficiency by 30%. This cuts the drill on Death Wish Bank Heist from 400 seconds to about 260 or 240. I can't remember the exact number right now. But 30% is gigantic. It's like 260, 270. Anyway, that's huge. That is several minutes of waiting. If you're drilling something in a loud mission, like say you're drilling the wall on Firestarter Day 2, or not the wall, but like the security door that drops on Firestarter Day 2, that's minutes of having to hold out against bulldozers and shields and cloakers and tasers that you otherwise wouldn't have to. That saves you ammo, that saves you health, that saves you time, that saves you from having... The more time you have, the more time there is to fuck up. That's very important. I think it does it about for this tree. Anything deeper is really getting pretty serious. But if you do take these points, if you can get 20 points into Technician, do it, because look at that tier bonus. That tier bonus is phenomenal. It increases your headshot damage by 25%. Headshot damage is already double for some people. Each enemy has a different multiplier on headshots. Some have like a 60%, some have like 500%. Like Bulldozer's headshot damage, once you get through that mask, is in the thousands of percentage. That 25% headshot damage increase is amazing, especially on higher difficulties. For example, the brown cops, the tans on Overkill and Death Wish, they have body armor. So if you're using basic weapons and don't have like Silent Killer or sniper rifles or armor penetrating slugs, you have to hit them in the head to do damage to them. By forcing yourself to get headshots with this skill, you should be getting headshots anyway. You should always be taking headshots. They're the most important thing in the game. I know you want to be MLG Pro and get headshots, but the idea is that headshots are imperative to succeeding in this game. It saves you ammo, it saves you time, it saves you health. When it comes down to everything, save as much as you can, be as efficient as you can. This tier bonus is amazing. Finally, we're going to end with Ghost. Now, Ghost, oddly enough, has the most of the you should always get skills. Putting 1 point in, you should put 1 point in Ghost. I don't care. Run a bank heist with some friends. When you start out, get some experience, get an ammo bag, a doctor bag, and an ECM before you get anything else. Unlock those things so that you can be useful in literally any situation. You will contribute something to the team. ECMs are phenomenal. If you don't know what ECMs do, basically when you use them, they are an electronic countermeasure, which is what they stand for. They block out cameras, they block out calls to the police. They can, at later stages, block out pagers from going off until they run out. They can also turn on feedback, which causes enemies to be stunned. They can open doors. They can open ATMs. They are one of the most versatile tools you have. Now, one thing you should get, the first skill you should get, is called Sprinter. The time before stamina, in the basic, the time before stamina regeneration starts is reduced by 25%, which means you have to wait 25% less before your stamina starts regenning. Great. And the regeneration rate is increased by 25%. Again, effectively making you have 50% as much stamina if you put those numbers together. It's not, the math isn't exactly correct, but effectively you are getting your stamina back a quarter of the time faster and a quarter more quickly. And then if you ace it, which is fantastic, your sprint speed goes up by 25%. You are sprinting faster than you were before. Your sprinting becomes better. And that makes skills like the Mastermind skill better. And the Enforcer when you're sprinting with bags. And Technician when you're going to save things. This skill, having better sprinting, is a... I'm running out of adjectives for these things because they're just so great. Sprint speed is essential. You should always get this one. Cat Burglar is okay. I only put 1 point in usually because taking armor damage is alright. I mean, you shouldn't be jumping off shit anyway. You know, there are ways to navigate down places usually that the game designers put in so that you don't just fall to your death every single time. For example, on Big Bank, there is a way to fall back into the building that is safe. There's a way to fall into the regular bank that is safe. There is a way to fall down from the roof on rats that is safe. There are ways to get down from high places that you shouldn't be on normally without dying. But having one point in it can save you from the one time you fuck up and fall off something. That's the most important part of that. I have Dead Presidents aced, which you don't have to. Someone should. Someone almost always has it. Someone should. It used to be non-essential. It used to suck. Loose items are things like small stacks of money, jewelry, wads of money, rings, anything you see in like diamond store, jewelry store, the bank heist, any loose stuff that you pick up. They're considered loose items. They used to suck. They used to be worth anywhere from a couple $100s to about $1,000 at max, maybe 10,000. Some of them. And this was a 30% bonus. Now 30% of 100 is $130 total. Then it goes up to 1,300. Then it goes up to 13,000. It was not worth it. Those small little numbers were not worth it. Then in one of the most recent patches, they changed it. They changed how much loose items are worth. Loose items are now worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. The loose little boxes of jewelry you see, not the rings, but the boxes of jewelry, are worth about 33,000 or something. Gold bars are worth about 40. And so when you take that 30% and add it up now, it's a bigger number. It becomes more worth it. In fact, in heists like jewelry store and diamond store, it can increase your haul by up to 30% because you have those. And it's huge. And then when you consider things like ATMs are now considered loose, they go from being worth 300,000, which they were worth 30,000 before. They got increased by 1,000% in the last patch. They went from 30 to 300k. That's a money bag on Death Wish. So you open up an ATM, instead of 300,000, you get 390,000. That's huge. That's gigantic. That's a lot of money really quickly. It's an extra 100k. And if you open 2 ATMs, that's almost another money bag. If you open 3, that's another money bag. Almost. In the basement on Big Oil, you can have up to like 6 or 7 ATMs down there. You open all those up, that's over $3 million, I believe. No, it's like 2.1 maybe. Anyway, almost 3. If you have the Dead Presidents. Dead Presidents is great now. It used to suck, but it's better now. You're going to want to go deeper into the Ghost tree for this one, just because Ghost has a lot of really good stuff. Fast Hands you can pack bags 25% faster and pick them up 25% faster. And then if you ace it, it's increased to 75 total because it further increases it by 50. So if you ace this skill, you pick up bags 75% faster. You pick up bags in 0.5 seconds as opposed to 2. That's huge. That's very important. That's you standing in a fray of cops, picking up a bag of coke and throwing it over the wall because you have Transporter aced as well in Watch Dogs, and you taking 2 seconds to pick up this bag, getting shot at, throwing the bag, it hitting the top of the fence, tumbling back down in front of you, you picking it up again, throwing it finally over because you have to stand at the fence, throw it directly over and hope to get it arches because, you know, you're doing a layup at this point. It falls over, great. Now there's 10 more behind you have to do that with. And there's shield spawning. And FBI. And there's Bronco cops that were already there. And all these things that just make you want to bash your head into a wall. Or at least make your teammates want to bash their heads into a wall because they have to come save your ass when you die because you can't move bags quickly enough. And all this other stuff that I really don't want to go into details with because I'm still reeling from the last few heists that I've done that didn't have great teammates. But it's just really important that you get fast hands if you want to be moving bags. If you don't have fast hands, don't even fucking bother. Someone's got it. Someone will do it faster than you can. I can move 4 bags as fast as you can move 1. That's what that math comes out to. I can move 4 bags in the time it takes you to pick one up and move it, and I can move it twice as far, twice as fast. And if I'm running with it, I can move faster than you too. You not having those skills hurts your entire team. You become a liability, and you become a parasite. You're damn near useless in a lot of missions. There's very few missions that are entirely dependent on your ability to hit cops. A lot of it is the way you play the game. Chameleon is fine. if you want to get that one. Putting one point into that is fantastic. If you're doing like bank heists and stuff where you start out in casing mode, you can mark cameras and guards and stuff, and that just helps your team communicate. If you aren't talking to them, if you don't use a mic, you should use this so people can tell they're spotted. You should always be aware of your surroundings, what cops are spotted, what cameras are spotted, where they're located. If you see a cop or see a camera, look at it and press F. You'll give information to your teammates, they'll appreciate you for it. Cleaner is good if you're going into any sort of damage. 5% more damage to special enemies is pretty huge, especially on like bulldozers, or like if you're using a weapon like the Thanatos. Thanatos does hundreds of damage, so 5% of that is a big number. Headshots on specials are huge, so grabbing a point and cleaner can be definitely recommended. Also, you can be the guy to buy the body bag asset that no one ever uses. I mean, it's useful sometimes, but it's very, very rarely useful. And finally, Shinobi. If you are ever going to stealth and you ever want to get off the bench, like, you know, because when you first start playing the game, people are stealthing. You just sit back and do nothing. You watch them do it. You observe and you try and see, and you go, God, these guys are fucking wizards. They're doing things I can't even fathom. You get Shinobi, you walk 25% faster, and your crouch speed is increased by 10. Well, your crouch movement speed is increased by 10. That's great. That's great. It means you get around faster when you're sneaking. You become able to sneak better. But acing it is where it's at. Enemies make 95% less noise when shot or melee to death. This is one of the highest percentage changes in the game's stats. Normally, if you don't have this ace, you can kill an enemy, even if it's a silencer, even if you hit them, even if you stab them. Their death can make enough noise. This is the difference between a guy going when they die and you just slitting his throat. You know, I mean, it's a silly way to reference it, but really, he screams when he dies, or he doesn't scream when he dies. This is that difference. This can not having this and killing an enemy on a stealth mission can cost you the entire mission. If you are ever going to stealth and you ever think you're going to take any sort of lead or kill an enemy, have Shinobi aced. Because everyone will hate you if you don't. I think that about covers the basic skills you should have in every single tree. Again, I say, you should unlock every single tree. You should unlock every single tree. You should have at least 1 point, sometimes 5, in every single tree. I heavily recommend it. It'll make your experience better. It'll make your teammates' experience better. It'll cause you to be yelled at less times. It'll cause everyone else to hate you and think you're a troll. It's just really important to me, to the community, and to yourself if you want to play this game and be good at it. To focus on being the best teammate you can, because this is a co-op game. This is not competitive. You are not trying to do better than your other teammates. As much as you may think your kill count matters, at the end of the day, it really doesn't. You don't get any sort of bonuses for that unless you're going for achievements. What matters is completing the mission in a decent amount of time and getting as much money as you possibly can doing it. That's the essence of Payday. Kills don't matter. The amount of ammo you have left at the end of the round doesn't matter. Accuracy is not that important as long as you get kills and headshots and doing your job. Trying to compete with people is not the point of the game. Until they put in a versus mode, that's not going to matter. The core of this game, the point of this game, is to work with your teammates to accomplish a common goal. And by taking these basic skills, you will help them accomplish that goal. Simple as that. You become a better player if you take these skills. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.